Um, well, yeah, because of the crowd today, it's been really sort of like focused on what it is that I'm putting into the quest, I guess, and really starting to, because I've got 2 days left until we actually go and sit in the woods, and it's been really just quite intentional. That's the word, really. Yeah, it's a lot of intention sort of coming up at the moment, um, and yeah, it's very reflective as well. But yeah, what about you?
Um, I was meant to do tele a live again today with another person, but we got Wednesday, and then I went to play chess with a friend of mine, and we hung out with the dog for a little while and played chess for a while, and then I came home. I'm fasting today, so
Mhm.
I'm literally on hot water and lemon and water and water and
Yeah.
water. So it's one of those days.
Yeah, I was the same. I woke up and had loads of watermelon, and then yeah, the black coffee, and then I've had just bananas and things. I'm trying my best to ease out the crappy foods and change it with healthy. But yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely my last vice that I have. I feel. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
It's a
Everybody
tough
else is
one.
good. Yeah.
Hello, Victoria. I see you're here, and Lisa. How are you doing? Thanks for being here with us. Sending you both love. Um, yeah, I suppose I've got this event coming up on the 18th of October, and I'm having to go through and speak to the speakers that we've got booked for the event.
Mhm,
Because I'm hosting the event, I don't want to introduce someone that I have never spoken to before.
mhm,
And so I'm calling the speakers and arranging Zoom calls with them
mhm.
just to get to know them. So when I introduce them on the day, it's an authentic introduction. So I've got 6 speakers to contact over the next month or so. So we're just arranging all of that and just making more TikToks really for this event coming up. It's going to be great. It's going to be
Yeah,
people who go to that event are going to get a masterclass in sovereignty.
yeah. And when is it, Chris?
Saturday, the 18th of October in London. If any of you want to come along, this is a masterclass in navigating documents, courts, councils, police, moving into how to manage the fears and worries and concerns
Mm,
that come along with that journey. And it's not just as simple as sending letters and hoping for the best. There's a whole, as you know, a transformational journey. Um, so just helping people through that process, really,
yeah,
helping people learn intellectually and then put it into practice with empowerment.
yeah, yeah. That's something that so I'd be interested in coming if I'm free. I would love to come actually because yeah, it's something that I need to implement into my life. I know that the exactly what you say with the intellectualization of it is fine. Get it from that energy point of view that you have to love and honor yourself enough to stand up for yourself really and not be scared in that place. Um, but yeah, it's like what was the changing dynamic in your life that helped you to embody that? I guess what was it? Was it one thing or?
Um, I think at the beginning, the trauma that I had 12 years ago, I was a defiant little prick. I was so defiant and I was so angry and I was so in opposition to any authority figure at that point because of daddy issues. I think just a little bit of knowledge was enough for me to start fighting the government, really.
Yeah.
And I really believed in what I was reading. I was reading Johnny, my beautiful friend who's passed away now. So sad. Without Johnny, I wouldn't be the man I am today. He explained the law in such a brilliant way that I understood that what I was doing was right. And I believed in it. And it was scary. It was scary. I was put in jail and I was arrested 20 times and it went over and over again. But like everything, as Alan Watts says, a man who persists in his folly becomes wise. If you just practice and practice what you believe in, you become wise in that thing. And that's how you get rid of the fear by facing it. How
Mm,
corny, but it's so true. There were times in jail cells where I was really scared that I was going to go to jail and nothing ever happened.
mhm.
Nothing ever happened to me.
and that's all of what the system that's in place at the moment, due to our consent, is doing. It's putting us in that place of we don't want to look at it. When actually, when we do look at it, whatever fear, and it doesn't matter whether it's like governmental taxation law or any of this stuff, whatever we look at, then as soon as we stop being oppressed by it and we make that decision to then face it, it just dissolves because it was never real to begin with. Yeah.
It was just an imagination connected to a feeling,
Yeah. Yeah.
But like the level of conviction that I had, it changes over the years because I don't feel like I'm in opposition to anybody now, and I'm not fighting the government. So it's difficult for me to connect with my audience sometimes because they're all very angry, and sometimes saying, "Well, that's one way of looking at it, but maybe look at it this way," which is a much more kind of like unifying way of looking at government and courts and councils, because it's actually a waste of our energy to think negatively about the government.
Yeah.
It will just deplete an individual down to a nervous wreck. So loving our government unconditionally is the only thing, and people don't want to hear that. So sovereignty truly is being able to free up your mental and emotional space as well of the concerns and worries and fears around government. It's a whole psychophysical experience, not just an intellectual concept like I'm a sovereign man.
It's like you have to be in sovereignty, isn't it? Really, that's what I see. Yeah, and you can't be in opposition or hatred or well, all of that is fear, isn't it? When we break it down energetically, it's just like, oh, I'm defensive. Oh, that means you're scared that something's going to hurt you, but actually nothing can hurt you unless you consent to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been through the rigor with the courts and the police, and no one ever harmed me. Yeah. My physical being was never I mean, being in handcuffs isn't easy, and it's uncomfortable sometimes, but there was never any abuse. So I went through that whole journey relatively unscathed, you could say. Like, we're lucky that we got the police that we do in this country. Yeah. We're trying, waking up and challenging the government in another country, not so easy.
Yeah.
So we are in that at least.
Yeah, they're kind of aware that they're criminals and they play into that character of the criminal, isn't it? Whereas here, they're pretty abiding.
Yeah, I had lots of I've had more respectful policemen than dickhead ones. Way more respectful policemen interacting with me on all levels. And I think the police have got a really difficult job, and I respect them a lot.
Yeah, especially this time right now, isn't it? Because everything is so chaotic, and they're having to watch their backs more than ever. It must be such a stressful job to be in. I remember I once wanted to be in the police. Actually, it's like I'm quite glad I didn't. And my friends, I have a couple of friends who have left the police recently, interestingly, and now they're doing all the work, the sovereignty side of things, because they were in it, they saw it, and it's like, but the police that maybe are in it, they must be seeing the inaccuracies or the distortions within everything because they're there. It's like you can't ignore it. It's like we don't have the resources to do this. We're filling in paperwork all the bloody time, and it's like, well, how do we get out of this? But they're beholden to the paycheck. They've got kids too. They've got bills to pay and everything. So it's kind of trapping everybody. Yeah, or makes think.
Everybody that's in the force is having to make a moral and ethical judgment every day when they wake up. And they have been brainwashed, and the people who work for the police don't necessarily know who they are and what they're doing on a spiritual level. So they have just been drawn into this semi-respectable job in our society where they honour it, and most of the people who work for the police are probably nice people,
Yeah.
I think the police at the very, very top is in the cult. Yeah. Like that's like cult level. But street level police, they're awesome. They're nice people. But sovereignty is basically, I was at an event 3 weeks ago, and I was asked, what is sovereignty to you? And it came about this thing again, and I said, the ability where you spend your attention and your time. on a fundamental level, on the core level, the freedom to choose where your attention goes and for how long you put your attention on that thing. Because ultimately, money comes from where we spend our time and attention. You have to spend some time and some of your attention on something in order to make money, and that money has been extracted out through the tax system and through fines and penalties and everything. So in a way, it's like a vacuum cleaner system that just extracts our time and energy, which is in the form of attention. They're pulling our attention away to distract us. So ultimately, if you get to choose where you place your time and attention and keep some of that money for yourself and own your bank account and own everything, and you don't give it to anybody, now you are sovereign.
Yeah.
You're a sovereign being.
Yeah, I love that. I love that as a breakdown. It's interesting what you say about like the police and things. Yeah, the people at the very tippy top, they're the ones who are orchestrating it all, and it's kind of like they're putting everybody in this subservient mindset, I guess. Within the police, and I guess it's the same with the governments as well. Like the tippy top people, they know what they're doing. They're consciously aware that they are trying to siphon everybody's energy and things, and then it's a breakdown from that to like politicians and things who are really puppets for that, and here's loads of money, do what we want. And it's just like they're trapped also, same as the judges and people like this, or, I don't know if there's anything to say on that, but it's, yeah, everybody's kind of in this, but they don't really want to.
Hey, what's up, Rena? Watching from America. Hey, Bonnie. Thanks for being here today. We're talking about a bunch of topics. If you've got any questions, just pop them in the chat. Let's talk about Christ consciousness.
Yes, let's.
That's the solution, right?
Yes. Unconditional love.
Yeah. So, because we're all co-creating this reality all the time, all of us are co-creating this seemingly one reality. It's up to each individual to attain their own level of balance and calm and love and peace and inspiration inside of each individual self, and no one can do it for you. And as a byproduct, you would just be including that frequency into the mix of things that is co-creating this world. So the revolution truly is an internal journey only, and there's no escaping it at all. There's nothing we can do outside in our physical lives to change the world. It's purely an internal process, because even if we built a better world, it'll just have the same people there doing the same systems and the same belief systems. Yeah. So truly, the revolution is an internal spiritual practice only, and as a byproduct of that practice and healing, we would have and manifest a better world.
Yeah, I say this too, is where we work on ourselves and we become aware of patterns and things within ourselves that are resistant to some aspect of something that's appearing on the mirror of reality, and then that causes the dysfunction to play out into the world. Whereas if everybody found that level of love and acceptance for themselves, so too then you see that mirrored back to you in reality. And that's how we change the world, is that consciousness shift changes your emanation of frequency, and then from that effortlessly will move out into the collective, and there's really nothing to do other than that. And I've triggered quite a few people in saying that protests don't work, and the only activism we need to do is changing our internal state, and listening to that, and then that just naturally we change this world from the inside out, not the other way, because the other way there is so much to shift and change that you'll be doing it endlessly. All you can do is change how you view reality, and then reality changes as a byproduct of that. It's all love.
It's all love, man. Peace and love. Peace and love. Yeah. But it's true. It's cheesy and it's cliche, but I got to the point where I look out on physical reality and I just see like a canvas. It's like I'm looking out at a canvas, and I'm not so concerned with describing the objects in it and the people and the circumstances, but just sheer looking at it as a thing and going, wow. Like, so then I realized that as I internally transform myself, like you just said, the circumstances, the situations, the people, the opportunities all shift as a product of the internal shift. So I don't, everything I've achieved up until now has been absolutely effortless, like you said, because the internal imagination and the feeling and the self belief, and you let go of the limitations, that internal process reflects differently and the canvas change. And I'm just walking around a new canvas over and over again every day, and it's only getting better.
Yeah, yeah. It is.
I don't know.
I see it. I see it in every day. You know, it's like I always thought I had to go and force change and do all this, and we've been through all that. You know, it's a part of the journey, isn't it? The like the active activism or whatever it is, but actually a lot of it is coming from a place of woundedness because we can't see that what is appearing out there is just what's going on within myself. That was it, you know, and that's it. It's the one thing I noticed. There's a comment here. Please explain how working on myself will stop the killing of children in Gaza. It won't. You know, it will eventually, but for right now, I actually asked ChatGPT. I don't use ChatGPT a lot, but because it keeps coming up with people, I always said, like, what would Ramdas say about what's going on in Gaza at the moment? And he said, whereas you could send prayers and loving energy to all the people over there, you can do that and meditate into it, but ultimately the only thing you have control over is your internal state. So once you change that, then you're able to change effortlessly the world around you, and as a byproduct, that will filter into that reality of what's going on over there. So hold that love and that acceptance for yourself, and that will then effortlessly change things over time. It won't happen, you know, instantaneously, but in some way it does as well, I guess. But yeah, it's
The question to propose, Cat Called Monkey, who posted that question, is what is your opinion about Gaza and children dying doing to help them? What is your description about Israeli government doing to help them? What are you actually providing to help that situation? And the answer is probably nothing. So then, if you're not actually contributing to the Gaza situation in any way, shape, or form, the most beneficial thing you can do is to think positively for them and to believe positively to happen and send out that frequency. It sounds very wishy-washy, but it's quantum entanglement, like Rena just said. Is you want to help the people in Gaza, you get down on your knees every day and you pray for their health and well-being every single day, regardless of what you believe in.
yeah,
You just do it. And healing yourself is completely right. The transformation of your consciousness from negative frequency emotion into enlightenment is having a massive effect on everybody in the world. All the animals, the plants, the rocks, the stones, the air, the moon, the sun, everybody in your family, everyone is being affected by you transforming your consciousness and seeking enlightenment and healing. That is the most greatest thing you can do while you're on the planet, and that doesn't cost any money.
yeah,
It's free. It's
yeah.
free and it's the best.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot in that. That's it, you know. All the best things in life are free, you know. There's all these cliches, isn't there? But they're so bang on. Like the truth will set you free. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. You know, it's like exactly like the best things in life are free. They cost nothing, and like yeah, we change this world from the inside out, and that's exactly what we're all doing. And you know, if anybody's not familiar with the work of David R. Hawkins, he's a wonderful human being. Like or was, but he's still here in a lot of ways. You know, his work transcends all time. It's like, and he says in that, you know, talking about the scale of consciousness. The scale of consciousness is talking about like where you are at in your perception and where you're at within your frequency state determines how you perceive reality. So, say if you're right down at the bottom in shame. I was in shame for years. You know, shame. Oh, woe is me. This is all happening to me. All the rest of it. And then slowly I started to build myself up to like apathy and anger. And then you make the switch from 200, which is neutral, into, I think it's courage. I think courage is the first one, or willingness, or something like that. And then when you step over that border, then you become of service to the world. Whereas most of humanity, not a judgment, just an observation, is below that frequency of 200. So they're running a program based in fear and lack and anger and strife, and it's like a victimhood mentality within that lower frequency band. As soon as you start to transmute and you see that all of this is happening for you, which I've had channeled so many times on plant medicine, I think, Sam, everything is good. Go out and tell the world that everything is happening for them, because it is. Even if it appears that it's like, oh, this is awful, they did this to me and they did that to me. They didn't. They're doing it to you so that you can realize that you have the power to be able to do something about it, and that you are drawing exactly what you need in to get you up that rung, to enlightenment, to authenticity, to truth. Love, truth, and authenticity, they're all you. They're the same thing. It's all love, or some shit.
Yeah, and it's funny because from my understanding of emotion, all emotions are actually technically negative in terms of positive and negative, simply because love, inspiration, joy, excitement are not emotions. That's like who I am. It's coming out of me. It's like pouring through me unconditionally. But the emotions are fear, worry, guilt, resentment, unforgiveness, shame, toxicity, resentment, the whole rage, anger, everything. And they're all unpleasant experiences in the system by the field of emotion. So you could say that all emotions are technically negative, and when you go into them and you pay and you cry them out, you literally feel every single one of them to the bottom of your being until you're just purging. It feels like you're purging a demon sometimes, literally, and you're free of it forever. You're literally free of that emotion. Since that frequency comes up, it comes out of your system, and then peace, love, joy, acceptance, authenticity becomes just a natural, but like the engine's running all the time at that level. And you can put your foot on an accelerator and elevate it in certain situations. But the van is just running at a nice positive level, which I never knew was possible for me, for my individual experience. When I remember crying really intensely when I realised I was happy.
Yeah.
A feeling of happiness that I was like a forest inside my being. It was like an ocean that arrived, and I was like driving, and I could feel, oh, what is this thing? Oh my god, I'm happy. Oh my god, I just cried driving, crying my eyes out. Because actually, it was 35 years of my life, and then I started feeling happy after 5 years of healing.
Yeah.
So that was getting. They say being happy takes some getting used to,
Yeah.
And keeping the engine running at that level frequency takes time and work and effort.
Yeah. Especially, I think, on my journey, I would always. I mean, it's a shadow side of myself in the gene keys, which is an interesting one to look at. Is we've come into this realm to see, or transmute energy from our unconscious side to our conscious side, and there are certain encoded codons in our DNA that get triggered or activated at certain points, and that will bring experiences into our life so that we're able to transmute this shadow side. Like, for instance, in love, and one of mine is gene key 36, I think it is, and it is from compromise to through the gift of whatever it was in the middle. And always throughout my entire life, I was what you would call bipolar. I was never diagnosed, but that's now looking back now, I was so up and down all over the place. I could never be in that place for longer than thing, and things would just trigger me. But I was out of alignment. And bipolar doesn't actually exist. It's just a misalignment of energy. It's a label, it's a term for a misalignment of energy, and you think that you are this thing. But fortunately, I was never diagnosed with anything. But looking back now, that's what you would call it. When really all I was doing is I was compromising every part of my being in order to fit into something that wasn't me. It wasn't truly, honestly my authentic self. and because of my wounding, I would give my power away to everybody and everything so that I could be loved and accepted and meet that confluence. But that confluence wasn't honest, you know. And I think a lot of people on earth are like this. They're going like, oh, people pleasing and, you know, giving so much of their power away to everything outside of them. The beauty of it is, because I'd felt that constriction of that within my life, I know that then it gets to the point of where it's really uncomfortable, so that we shift and move out of that. And without that contrast, there's no way that I would have been able to realize the innate freedom that I wanted to be and am, you know. So it's like, that's how everything's happening for us in this time, you know. And there's no victim mindset with it. It's like, oh wow, thanks, like thanks, you know. Yeah.
That is a switch. That switch. And in one of the books I was reading, it was called The Birth of Responsibility. And there's a certain point in your awakening process where you just take full responsibility for everything that you have, that you've made, that you haven't made. Everything is your own manifestation, and not one single person in your life can be singly blamed for anything. And everyone is off the hook, as Jesus said, forgive them for they know not what they do. You have to just say, okay, I am creating, in this manifestation, I am the creator of it, and therefore I am solely responsible for everything I've attracted. If I attracted abuse, it was my fault. If I attracted those things, there also gets a point later when you realize that people can do random things to you. We have the ability because free will exists, and we don't always know what other people are thinking and feeling. And randomness does happen, and accidents do happen in this way. So it's not all we're attracting it, and therefore it's our fault. Sometimes people do heinous things for no reason, and we can't describe that or explain it. It's a mystery. But 9 times out of 10, if you're in a toxic relationship, it's because of you and nobody else. Like, do you know what I mean? It's repetitive. You're just choosing it over and over again. But yeah, it comes to, and then it's this hard pill to swallow. You have to admit that you are the creator of your own reality, and you have to start making steps towards how you're going to function and navigate through that reality with more ease, with more love, with more respect. And that just takes honesty, self-honesty, and staying on the healing, you know. It never ends. Even though I'm happy, I'm still healing. Deeper parts of myself that I hadn't, like you said, from unconscious to conscious is always happening, and it's just being revealed more and more all the time. And just when you think you're happy, you're not so happy anymore. And you're going into something new, and it's something you've never experienced before. Linked to your dad, or linked to your mum, or linked to this thing. And then you're back in it for a few weeks while you knuckle down and cry and feel. And then when it goes again, you're back. Hey, months of happiness, or weeks of happiness if you're lucky.
Yeah. And then that's it, isn't it? I heard somebody saying, you know, the enlightenment isn't that everything just suddenly becomes this like bliss state all the time. No, it doesn't. It's the fact that you get comfortable with the up and down, and then you start to almost perceive into the future of what's occurring. I was just discussing this with a client actually, and she was saying just that, and it's like, you know, we get to the point where we're recognizing these archetypal energies. And these energies that are wanting to be transmuted before they happen. So it's just like, oh, this person coming into my awareness here, oh, they're being like this. Okay, right, so how do I respond in this way that is different from the last time that I reacted in that certain way? Because then that's the freeing thing, because you're really tuning into that and embodying that everything is happening for me, you know. And like you say, there is random occurrences in that where stuff will happen that are happening for you in essence. It's just they're not being worked out yet, and then you've just got to relax and trust that it is that process still happening, I guess. And that's the faith that everybody says in God or your journey itself, isn't it?
It's something really funny that happened. You talk about making positive out of everything and seeing everything as positive. So I'm visiting my brother, and I pull over to speak to someone in the little cul-de-sac, and a man comes over to speak to me. And I'm blocking someone's drive, so I pull my van back and accidentally scraped a brand new BMW right down the side. I'm like, oh, a dime. This is like 2 weeks ago. So I get out, I look at the car, I don't see anything. Anyway, the guy goes mental, and his older brother's kicking off. And I'm me, and this older brother's like gearing up to fight me, and his dad's there, and I'm like, oh, what the hell's going on? So I'm like, okay, well, this is great, like stay positive in the situation. And they were not happy about my level of positivity in that given situation.
Yeah.
They were like, I'm just like, well, it's easy, I'll give you my details. And no, this is fucking right. And they were effing and blinding, and like the sky had fallen down or something, or there'd been a nuclear holocaust. And I'm like, okay, that's a scratch on a car. Like, it's absolutely fine. That's why we have insurance companies. Like, it's no brainer. And they were getting more and more irate at me not admitting that this was a bad thing.
Yes.
And they were the start for them. It was over. Like it was a brand new car, and they've always wanted it. And I scratched this young guy's car, and I could maintain my positivity. And like, there's a reason this happened, and no amount of negativity is going to help the situation. Let's just give our details. But sometimes over positivity can be like a mistake of responsibility.
Yeah. And it's depending on who you're talking to as well, isn't it? I noticed this happened the other day actually. And a guy came to flag or do the form with a load of slabs basically. And he showed up, and I could tell instantly that his energy was just not. He didn't want to be there. And he got another job, and he's going like, "No, I don't want to do this," you know what I mean? And he was just finding fault with everything. I was like, "Yeah, it's all good, mate. Like, just don't worry. Like, if you want to go to your other job, don't worry." And he was just finding reasons to validate because he felt bad about, and I could sense this in his energy. He felt bad about wanting to go and do this other job. And I was just like, mate, it's all right. Ring Toby. He said, oh, but he said you're the foreman. It's like, I don't know other things, mate. I don't know what's going on. It's like, if you're not happy, don't worry. Just go and do the other job. And he was like, and he couldn't but that honesty and that assuredness and confidence, people don't know what to do with, because they're hell bent and addicted to the chaos and the drama, because that's all they've known, and that's the world. That they're a symptom of the society that we live in, and through us being ourselves, we're also breaking that paradigm. Even if it appears they're taking umbrage to it, really it's going in and it's being heard on a level, a soul level, I guess. Yeah, but people don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with that level of calm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's waking up and healing and studying enlightenment and this thing. I know people that I talk to that fully accept and understand me who I am, and they can connect on a lovely, beautiful level like we have. And it's beautiful. And I love having that network of people in my life, because it just makes you feel like I'm safe in a community. But 99% of the people I talk to when I go into town have no real concept of what or who or what I'm about or what I've been studying for 12 years. And we have that level of conversation about the weather and all of those things. And I suppose we do have different levels, social structures in the awakening, where there's a community of people in plant medicines that you can be 100% yourself with, and you're like taking mushrooms together and you're enjoying that beautiful experience together, connected. And then you've got people you work with if you have a job, and it's that level of conversation. Yeah. But I have noticed that in recent times I've become unapologetically myself, and I'm just simply not asking. I'm just bouncing around, speaking my mind, opening my heart, and I see people's body language, like look at each other and look down, like, oh, this guy is a lunatic, and I see, and I'm just like, let me tell you this. I did a gig on Friday night in Southbourne, and during the gig there was three young girls, like 30-year-old women, dancing, and I was like on stage, and there was like 100 people there, but they were having a great time. And in the break, I went outside to talk to them, and I went over and I said, "Hey, don't you girls go anywhere? You're my backing dancers for the second set." And they were like, "Oh yeah, cool," and they were all vaping outside the pub. And within like 2 or 3 minutes of talking to them, they were all looking at each other like, "Oh, who is this guy is?" Like, "All right, cool, thanks for coming over, yeah, cool." And then I was like, okay, I'll kick these people out. So I bounced over to like my van to go and just chill out. And then during the second set, they never came back in.
That's it. Yeah,
It would be better for me if I'd have just not talked to anyone at my gig and just go and sit quietly in meditation for half an hour and do my break, and then just walk out on stage and just do my job. Because sometimes socially it just goes above everyone's head. They're like,
yeah,
oh, wow, this guy is
yeah.
he's taking way too many mushrooms.
Yeah, that's
But I'm actually just actually what I'm doing is I'm being actually open and loving and it's so over the top and overwhelming for some people that they think this guy must be on the spectrum or he must have autism or he must have some kind of mental. Oh, well done, Chris. No, thanks for coming over. I'm actually just being authentically open and it's so bizarre
right.
because people, whoa,
Thank you for saying this, Chris, because like there's nothing wrong with us. That's it, you know. It's like we're just being who we are in this time, and I notice it with the guys at work, you know. And I find myself saying like, "Can I say that?" And like before I've even finished saying, "Can I say that?" in my head, I'm saying it because why not? And I think that opens their perception as well. And I'm noticing that with the guys that I work with, they're saying to me, it's like we've never worked with anybody like you before. Like, you know, not who I am. It's that level of openness, you know. And like, I'll quite happily call people out on things, but very calmly and just very neutrally. There's no anger or emotion behind what I'm saying. It's just this is the way that it is, you know. It's like, and that's okay. And but people don't know how to take you in that, you know. They feel a bit less than or whatever. But then you can sense that in their energy as well. And my mum said it beautifully, actually. She said to me when I decided to leave the home, she was just like, I was like, I love you guys, I love you unconditionally. And then Mum said, yeah, we love you too, Sam, but you're just a bit much, you know. And I went, yeah, I get it. I get it, you know. I'm not for everybody, you know. She was almost saying it like it was a bad thing or a negative thing, but it was like, no, it's okay. I get it. You know, we can only meet people where we're at, in essence, and we do ourselves a disservice trying to trying is the word, forcing that on certain people because they feel so uncomfortable by it, you know. It's like,
yeah.
but ultimately, that's the thing that breaks the paradigm. Yeah,
I think if I'm going into an environment where I'm going up to Newton Manor Hall and they do an open mic, you know, I can just talk about music all night and play guitar and sing pop songs and just turn off enlightenment and spirituality and God and Jesus and just have an entire night where that stuff just doesn't exist. And there's no one there to talk to about it anyway. So I just go there and there's like 45 people and I'm hosting an open mic. And I'll just talk to them about Led Zeppelin and guitars and like talk about songs and everyone has a jam. And no one, in a way, spirituality and God and Christ becomes my little secret. And it's not shoved back down everybody's throat, but I just lead by example, by being an example of the teaching, which is be loving, be kind, be inspirational, encourage people where you can, and just be a good host at the open mic and leave everyone leaving happy. And that's the message of Christ, ultimately. Um, so it doesn't have to be a billboard. I don't mention God or Christ or anything on my TikTok very often.
yeah.
Um, because I want to be the example, be the teacher, you know, like,
Yeah, there's no force needed there, is there?
yeah, like you can't really teach it. It has to be practiced and understood, and then you become that person.
Yeah, and then
Um,
people either choose to match that frequency or they don't. That's, isn't it? You know, that's free will choice. You know, you're just being and emanating who you truly are, and that can
yeah,
either catalyze change or it will make the resistance, I guess, from certain people, and that's okay. We're not for everybody, are we? Yeah,
no, that would be boring.
yeah, yeah,
If everyone just got everybody, there'd be nothing to rub against, and there has to be rubbing in order for there to be transformation.
yeah. Totally.
You can't polish a mirror without friction.
Mm,
You know, you can't create a diamond without pressure.
mm,
The friction and pressure is just part of transformation, and we're just never going to negate that fact. Challenge equals growth.
yeah,
So if you want to have an easy life, your character will be like blancmange by the end of your life.
Yeah.
You want to take on a bit of a mountain during your life and go through some challenges, you have a very authentic and defined character by the end of your life.
Yeah.
And you'll wear the lines on your face of how much you've laughed, how much you've cried, how much you've stressed. And you can see it in the people's faces as they get older, what kind of life they've been having.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a beautiful adventure. But it's that birth of responsibility, which is you wake up every day knowing that everything you have or don't have is because of you.
I think fast track for me is gratitude. You know, being grateful for everything that's showing up. Like, as soon as I wake up, you know, the first thing in my thoughts now is probably, and then I go, oh, hang on a minute, wait, no, it's like, oh, wow, the sun is shining through the window today. It looks so beautiful outside. Oh my God, thank you so much. You know, that is it. You know, there's challenges showing up in my life that are testing me, and this is hard. Great, thank you for this. You know, it's like that's the switch, because then that which used to control over you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the end of a victim identity, basically.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You start to become that just pure awareness. I'm observing rather than I'm getting embroiled and involved in all of this stuff like I used to. You know, yeah, mindset. This whole reality is mental, isn't it? You know, not in like it's mental. It is mental too, but like it's mental. Yeah,
Um, well, yeah, for anybody who's watching this and is tapping into this kind of thing, you can literally choose what you think. And if you don't believe me, I can do a little exercise here. Close your eyes and imagine something that makes you feel happy. Just close your eyes, think of anything that makes you feel happy, and then do it again and add to the thing that makes you feel happy. Add something even more greater. So it's on top of that first thing. And see how your physical body reacts to that thought. Is it with love and peace and relaxation? And then add one more thing. Add the cream on the cake of this thing. Just imagine something that's greater than the first two. And then feel how your physical body responds to that imagined reality. Now you know two things. One of them, first thing, is that you can choose your own thoughts. That's paramount in this situation. And the second thing is your physical body will respond emotionally to what you think about. Right, this is incredibly powerful because if you feel down, you know it's because of what you're thinking.
yeah,
If you feel depressed or hopeless or filled with rage, doesn't matter. You are thinking something. As a result of it, your emotions are being responding to your thinking. So once you understand that you can A, pick your thoughts and that you feel better, choose better thoughts. Imagine better things. And you will, as a byproduct of choosing, writing, speaking, thinking, believing better, as a byproduct, you will naturally feel more elevated and happy. And you will feel amazing as a byproduct of that. But it takes time to write all of this stuff down and read it over and over and over and over again until you are that person.
yeah. 100%.
Don't stop, just keep going.
And it becomes impossible, isn't it? That's it. You know, I'm sure I'm going to be tested over the next week doing this vision quest. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be cold, probably. You know, fortunately, I'm going to be in one of my favourite places, which is woods. So I'll be happy there. But I will be tested because I will be, my mind will be screaming at me. You know, it's like all these reasons to be sad and angry and alone and all of this, and you're going, no, that's all good. I'll focus on something else and then just become aware of the thoughts that are appearing in front of your awareness. And that's it. And putting ourselves into these places that are like sweat lodges, horrific. Like I'm shaking, I'm sweating, I'm pissing myself. I've done it all in there, screaming, crying. And anybody else is looking at you going like, why would you want to do that? And it's like, because that's where it is. It's literally pushing your mind to that place of discomfort so that you're able to break through that and realize that, I actually enjoy this. Because my family, they can't understand why I'm doing these things.
Yeah,
They just,
because they haven't felt the joy of healing.
Yes. Yes.
And like once you get a grip that you're always happier and feel great after a big cry or a big purge, that's an addictive thing, man. I was like, I would get home, roll a little bit of weed, and walk around a golf course at midnight in 2018, 2019, and I knew that the weed would open up emotionally. And I would just be on my own listening to an audio night after night, crying my eyes out, having breakdowns, literally being like a feral animal, crying and howling and screaming and going through that purge. And the joy afterwards, the next day I'd wake up like, wow, I feel amazing. And
Your heart
it's like,
can rest and you can breathe properly. Yeah, yeah.
and also the throat chakra, it was blocked. I couldn't communicate all the way through my life. And as soon as I did chakra healing and I started opening up my throat, I can't shut up now.
Yeah.
I'm expression is healing. For anyone watching this, if you have a frequency inside of you that is present or you don't want to, simple act of writing and speaking about that thing will get rid of it.
Yeah.
Speaking, writing, singing, expressing, draw it out, write it out, poem it out, write a song about it, talk to a counselor, talk to a therapist, scream it from the mountaintop, express it in some way, and it will disappear.
Yeah. It's my favourite when I have these uncontrollable fits of laughter, you know, because life has been pretty serious the last 5 years, let's face it, you know, it's like, or it seemed serious anyway. But when we're actually, it's interesting you say about walking around a golf course with weed and things, because one of the biggest releases that I had was after I did the Buffo ceremony when I went to that hell realm. I went psychotic. I lost all grasp of like what was real, what was not. Year that my daughter was born, been together with my partner for 13 years, and I knew what I had to do and I didn't want to. I resisted it and resisted it and resisted it. And then one night, smoked a bit of hash and put intention into feel all of that terror and that fear. And that was literally the most amount of fear that you can possibly feel as a human being. And instead of being spooked by it, I remember it came up the night before, a pang of that shit, like. But instead of going like, "Oh, I'm terrified of that. I'm going to move away from that," I said the words, "That's interesting. That's just energy." And then from that moment, my whole perception of everything changed. Because then the next night I said, right, I know what I've got to do. I've got to get this up and out of my system. So I used, with intention, a bit of cannabis and literally sat with it and went, where are you? Where is that fear? Where is that terror? Where is that pain? Where is that sadness, that grief? It needs to come up and out. And instead of being spooked by it, I went looking for it. And then when it does that, it goes, oh shit, hang on a minute, he's figured it out. He's figured it out that he's got to go into it deeper. And when you do that, Chris, honestly, I was screaming into a pillow. You know, my ex-partner was upstairs with my daughter and things. That I cried and cried and cried and just ugly wept for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then literally sat there afterwards and went, oh, wow, I can breathe again. But not only that, the next day, like I could feel my higher self guides, whatever you want to call it, applauding. Well, it's just fantastic, you know. The next day, so many synchronicities started happening. The handyman business that I was doing fired off. 2 synchronistic things. 2 neighbours who were neighbours. My cards had been out there for months. All of a sudden, these 2 neighbours called me, not knowing that one another had called me, within 10 minutes of one another, asking me to come and do work for them. And everything started to build and grow because that's what it was trying to do. It was wanting me to go into that place to release that. So then it rewards that courage. That's the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, loves rewarding courage. You show courageous acts, it goes, fantastic, here you go. You know, here's the effortless life that you wanted, you know.
Yeah, and what's really funny is that mechanism you just called like God rewards. That's not even a being who's rewarding someone for something. Yeah. That's an automatic default principle of the structure that makes up. It's more like a law that governs things.
Yeah.
Some being who's like, oh, well done, Chris, you can have this now. It's more like when we choose to alleviate ourselves of a particular tension, whether it's anger, frustration, shame, guilt, all of those things, when we make that decision that enough is enough on that point, whatever it is, because it'll come up in different ways, at different times, depending on the trigger. But when we go up like this, like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I'm going to smoke with intention, and I'm going to sit down perfectly still under this tree. And I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to investigate with like a lantern. I'm going into the dark forest with a lantern, and I'm going to find out what it is inside of me that I am not enjoying very much. And sure enough, it's gone. It's like it's never failed me.
Yeah,
That technique of just sitting quietly for 45 minutes and being honest with myself.
yeah, yeah. And there's
And it's miraculous healing. I would say that healing and awakening is a scientific methodology that can be taught.
yes,
So it's not pie in the sky, woo-hoo spiritual nonsense that doesn't have any tangible evidence. It literally is a teachable science that you can just teach people mechanically at the beginning because they're thinking mechanically. You give them general practices, but over the course of ushering people through the emotional journey and healing, it is a completely applicable, teachable. You could do a course on enlightenment and a course on healing, and it would be a legitimate practice for people to take care of, to take
yeah.
care of themselves.
And it's a simple thing, isn't it? It's an ABC. Recognize the fear, go deeper into the fear, and then literally become aware of. Well, it's not even about becoming aware. I think it's more about just feeling. That's it. Because this world, like the beauty is, like why you could call them powers that were or whatever it was, is like what they've done is they've implemented like antidepressants and all of these things to stop us from feeling pain,
Yeah.
because it keeps us from our divinity almost. And I went on to antidepressants for 6 months after that psychotic. No, it was before that actually. I went suicidal for a little while, but really all that was wanting to die was the part of myself that wasn't myself. It was a fiction, almost a story that was created, and that story was die away. And I think that's the same with everybody who has suicidal tendencies. They don't actually want to die. They just want this part of them that is creating the suffering to die, the story almost, and the attachment to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an easy task. I feel like I had a fast track ticket. I must have done it a billion times in other lives because I was so obsessed with Zen Buddhism and meditation and healing that there wasn't a single book on the planet I just needed to read it all. I needed to know every single. I was like obsessed, and truly, knowledge is power. So if you want to gain sovereignty and have power, you got to learn how to read. You have to read. There's no bypassing it. You can watch as many live online seminars as you want. You have to literally read the passages. And I love this. I love this. In Latin, the word libre is a book. Libre is a book, and the word libre comes from the word liberate. Right? So they knew that in a book was the liberation of someone suffering. And if you could pass down books, that's where the word library comes from, a place of liberation.
Knowledge. Yeah.
Knowledge. So books are way holier and more profound than we've been led to believe. And we're just told, oh yeah, it's just a book, blah, 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 blah. A book, written word, is literally how you can change your life with the written word. And why did God put in the Bible? It's like in the beginning there was the Word. Like in the beginning of all time in the Bible, the first chapter, the first line of Genesis, in the beginning there was the Word. Like what is this about words and creation that it's so powerful? The sounds, the frequencies and intentions are literally manifesting our reality.
Yeah.
I listen to people all the time talking themselves into illness, talking themselves into a bad situation, talking themselves into a broken relationship. And I hear them saying the words out loud all the time. Oh, I always get sick this time of year. I get a cold, and my neck hurts, because and whoa, and then 2 weeks later they're all ill and they just got a sore neck, and they haven't realised that they literally created their own problem.
Yeah.
That is something you have to live with. As when you wake up, you have to just witness without judgment what everyone else is doing,
yeah. And
and
that,
just
that's
allow.
that's the thing with the, the we're so powerful that, the controlling bodies, or whatever you want to call them, they are having to imprint coding into us so that we then play out the timelines that are creating all of the dysfunction and everything. But then there's a paradox to that, that the deeper it goes into chaos, the more people will then wake up and realize, because it gets to that point of, I can't do this anymore. So it's kind of, and that's where there's no good or no bad in this reality, I guess. When you break it down further, they're actually aiding the awakening. It's like,
Yeah.
COVID.
Oh, that's deep, man. Because I got to that point as well when I realised that. Hold on a second. What the government are actually doing is benefiting
Yeah,
on such a way that people wouldn't even realise.
yeah,
They're guiding the best they possibly can to navigate through a very tricky minefield
yeah.
because the people are waking up, and it, I it's not the elite's fault that everyone's asleep.
No.
It's not the elite's fault that 2 billion people arrived on this planet from fornication over the last 20 years.
Mm,
Like, it's not the elite's fault that 2 billion people just arrived on the planet in the last 20 years. I'm
no.
sure they did everything they could to stop it, but inevitable. And this is a really hard pill for people to swallow.
Massive.
If the population keeps going the way it's going, everyone will die.
Yeah,
Everyone will die on the planet. You cannot have an exceeding, expanding, infinite entity on a finite object that's floating in space. So the Earth is finite, and all of its resources are finite. The current system cannot sustain this many people.
yeah,
In order to keep this, I mean, we could have 50 billion people on the planet if the system was different.
yeah. But it can't exponentially continue. Yeah,
Not with this system. This system is a venture capitalist hellhole full of debauchery, and like this entire system has to collapse in order for 20 or 30 billion people to live and cohabit the earth responsibly with sustainable energy and animal rights, and getting everything sorted out on the planet is going to take more than just not paying the council tax.
yeah, yeah.
You know, this is
Totally.
the transformation of consciousness that we have to be seeing globally. And maybe Elon Musk and Donald Trump are all doing their best, working for people above them to navigate through a very geopolitically dangerous arena. And everyone is literally waking up and going, "Oh, fucking hell, I cannot believe we're having to do this."
Yeah, yeah.
We just don't know what really truly is known by the top of the pyramid.
Exactly that, and that's the ultimate humility. Is like I have no idea. I've been in certain states of consciousness, and I've come back from them, and I've gone like, oh, I have no idea at all about anything at all.
A wise man knows no.
Yes, exactly, and that's it. But then there's such a freedom in that as well. Yeah,
Yeah, there's so much freedom in it because ultimately, once you realize that you're a tiny, 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 tiny microorganism made up of only a few trillion cells, right, living on a tiny, 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 tiny space dust as an atmosphere, the Goldilocks zone, perfectly away from the sun, and that we're literally lucky to even know that we are living on a tiny, tiny grain, and that thing is billions of miles from anything else.
yeah,
That realization, you can't know everything. The universe is an absolute mystery.
yeah.
What God is a mystery to our puny little minds.
It's
And
unspeakable. It's un.
we can believe whatever we want down here, and it's making an iota of no difference.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly
What
that. I always, well, that's good in these states, this therapy and things like that. Literally, I felt as though the consciousness was pulled from myself and went and shot out to the furthest reaches of where you could possibly perceive anything, and saw everything as this one unified, beautiful thing. And then it was like I was put back down into my body, of which all of my story disappeared, therefore all of the suffering that I had endured throughout my life, that all of that had disappeared because I realized it was a story. And when I came back down, I was just like, oh my God, I have not a clue what is going on, other than the fact that I know that love is the most fundamental and intrinsically beautiful, like, thing that is made up, or everybody is made up of, and that's the important thing. And to share that knowing and that love, and then all fear is not real, construct of your beliefs or your conditioning. I was like, oh right, okay, cool. Now what? It's like, now where do we go? What do we do? Have fun.
No,
Yeah.
have fun. Yeah, I mean, life has become more fun after healing. I mean,
Okay.
it's years. It was 6 years for me of horrendous feeling like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
But the last 3 years, I've felt bloody amazing. I wake up every day like zoomed out. If in doubt, zoom out.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't mean some people use spirituality to escape, like escapism.
Yeah. Zoom out,
Like,
space out, different
like,
things.
no, it's not like the reality is that we're still living human lives and we have to interact responsibly with everybody. Um, but ultimately, after the healing journey takes place, you are expanded to a point where you are everything, everywhere, all at once. And I live most of my state in a state of, oh, I'm just looking at another version of myself. When I talk to you, you're like part of the divine spark that creates everything over there. You're over there on geographical location over there, but we're the same thing. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
and this,
maybe. Yeah.
this little echo chamber that we've created via technology is a wonderful opportunity for people to get an insight into that awakening process, because it's not just about cancer attacks, or it's multi interdimensional thing that it's not even about governments. It's not even about politics. It's not even about nutrition. It's way more magical and beautiful and miraculous than we can even put into words at some point. And we're having to make concessions in our wording to try and describe things that is undescribable.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Because any words that we use to describe anything is automatically a limitation of what it truly is. Yeah. It
And
can't be
I
separated
sat down with a
in.
pen once, and I was feeling really like, oh my God, I'm going to channel all this information, and I was going to write a whole thing about God and what I was experiencing, because I just felt inspired. And as soon as I was so zoomed out and self-aware of like the reality that I was experiencing, I put the pen on a piece of paper, and as soon as I put the pen on a piece of paper, there was nothing to write.
Yeah.
I realized that I couldn't ever describe the sensation or the feeling of enlightenment, or the
Because
feeling of clarity that comes with inspiration and love and teaching and helping people. That feeling, you just throw your pen away. You can't describe it. It just feels fucking great all the time.
it's being. That's
Because
it.
it's,
Show that through the light of the lightness of your consciousness. I guess that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
it beams out of you all the time, and we are shepherds. We're shepherds. We're shepherding people in this time, which is going through a very difficult time, a very challenging time on the planet. We need people leading by example and standing up and saying stuff and speaking out and sharing information, because humanity has lost itself down a one-way street, and we're going to have to do a U-turn and head back towards something that is far more conclusive to peace, justice, love, enlightenment, community, helping people, growing people, loving people, and we'll transform the world one people at a time, like one shopkeeper at a time, one guy at the bus stop at a time, like.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the
hey
beauty.
Sam, I need to just nip you really quickly. Just talk for a few minutes, and I'll be back in a second.
No worries. Yeah, to say into that as well is, I always say this on lives, it's like we change this world through little lifts. And that's what I do is like, whenever I'm out and about, it's like you give a smile to somebody, or the cashier at the shop who's serving you or whatever, you can literally ask them and be intrigued about their day. And then from that, their consciousness shifts. Their consciousness goes up in frequency because it's been heard, it's been seen, it's been loved, it's been accepted, and you've created an honest dialogue with this person, who then is going like, wow, that person actually gave a shit, and it's like, from that moment That's how we change this world. So nobody on here think that there's anybody above or below anybody else. It's finding that commonality within us all, which is the fact that we're all loved and we're all intrigued and curious beings. A lot of us are in a place of fear right now, and the only way that we can get out of that place of fear is by accepting what is, and then you're able to do something about it. And you can go around and just shine a light for people, be that light for people who are struggling, even if you don't know them. If it's Jenny who's serving you at the supermarket, go like, my favorite question that I love to ask people is, what do you love to do? What do you love to do? Because that question opens them up, and people go, oh, wow, that's a great question. I've never been asked this before. I don't know. What do I love to do? I love to, and it automatically puts them into that frequency where they're then thinking about lovely things that they love in their life, and it may just inspire them to go and do those things through no force. You're asking questions, and that's the way that, free will is the thing that runs this place, free will. So you have the ability to help change people, but done through no force. The masculine time of control and dominance and all of that is dying away right now, and we're moving into a much more gentler, feminine way of being. And so that question really inspires that curiosity and that childlike mindset as well, because kids are just going around doing what they love to do all the time, and that's what we're all getting back to, because kids have come into this reality fresh, they've come in just like, wow, this is great, this is fantastic, look at all this, and they're in heaven here right now. And then the schooling system or whatever it is, it tries to punch it out of certain kids, and then like that we then become something that we're not, I guess. But pulling ourselves back into that is, what do you love to do? It's such a powerful question. And cashiers, they love it. They're like, oh, I love bird watching. And I was like, tell me about that. Like, what was the last bird that you wanted to find and you found it and things? And then people are like, wow, you're genuinely interested in what it is that's going on, because you see yourself in the other person. And that's the beauty of it. And it happens through those little lifts. That tangent of that person changing their frequency, they then go home, they then say, oh, this lad at thingy helped me to see this within myself, and then, oh, that's really lovely, and then that filters and blah, 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 blah. That's how you change the world, effortless. Yeah.
I love the Zen analogy, which is it's millions of candles in a big space, and you just light one candle, and then that one candle can lean and light like 6 other candles. And those 6 candles can lean over and get 20 candles, and those 20 candles can lean over and get 60 candles. And that it started with one flame leaning over. And the beautiful thing about this analogy is that a flame isn't diminished by passing its flame to other people. A flame doesn't lose out on some of the fire when it passes on the fire to the next candle. It's just double illumination and then triple illumination. So in a way, we're all candles just leaning, nodding, teaching, inspiring, loving, over and over again. And eventually, just by a byproduct of existing and speaking and teaching and loving and informing people with information, by a byproduct of that, it's inevitable that there'll be some kind of revolution and awakening on the planet at some point, and we don't know when that is, but we're doing it every day with every word that we speak.
Yeah, I was going to say it is. I see it as already happening. It is through us, through every person who is tuning into that love in themselves. And it's only going one way, because love is the most powerful energy that is in this universe. It's what everything is made up of, even the hate, and that's what you realize on the deeper level of all of it. All the oppression and the control and the fear is love too. It's just lost. It's lost quite a lot of it, but ultimately, it's always in it, like within our own lives. All of the strife and the struggling things, that's helping us to realize that level of love within ourselves. By pushing us into that place where we feel so despondent and alone and all of that. That is helping us. And there are archetypal processes or key points on all of our journeys that I see coherently in the calls that I do with people is just there's that same emanation of energy that is leading everybody to the same awareness, which is that we're all loved, you know. And that's
Yeah, that's that is true. The pressures of society is actually waking people up more and more. So in a way, the more stressful and the more pressure and the more fear that is ramped up through the media is forcing people to wake up quicker as a byproduct because enough is enough. And it's what I love about Zen Buddhism, which is the Zen Buddhists used to hit the students with sticks. And they'd be like, "Well, that's not very loving." Like, and the teacher's like, "No, this is the most loving thing I can do to you right now. Is you need a hit with a stick, like whack him with a stick." And it was so the person would learn something in a more shorter period of time, essentially, or come to the realization of something.
Yeah.
I'm not at all saying that. I'm not agreeing with the governments and their methods because I'm not agreeing with them because I just had like I was in the living room the other day and someone was watching television and I was looking at the television itself, not the program on the television, and I thought we've got these incredible visual devices that play sound. You could put anything on this thing. Like imagine a channel that's designed by psychologists that literally channel age 1 to 3, channel age 3 to 5, channel age 5 to 7, and it's all the affirmations and all belief structures with music and visual images that a television can give out. Like I am safe in the world, and I am filled with wonder, and I love being alive, and I am excited about living, and I love breathing. And imagine those television channels that just repeated, and it was like a public service announcement. Everyone just watches these channels as they're born, and everyone's just used to it. And it's like the whole society, the structure of society itself would transform in 1 or 2 generations if people would use the technology to help grow their consciousness. To, like affirmations every night when you sleep on a television channel. It's called Night Sleep Affirmations Channel, and it's just 24 hours affirmations, uplifting music, and you could have women's hour, you could have men's hour, you could have teenage weekends, you could have toddler hour, you could have so many amazing affirmations on a television channel on repeat that would change the world.
I love that because, like, when I was at college, I remember we had to come up with an idea for a news channel, and Russell Howard actually did it in the end, you know. And it was called Good News, where just there's good news all the time, you know. And it's just like, what a great idea! Why don't we have that, you know? And it's interesting because I don't listen to the radio a lot, but then I don't listen to it at all consciously. But then the guys at work who I'm working with, they've got the radio on a lot of the time, and I'm just like, wow, crikey, I forget that this is going on all the time for people, you know, and they're locked in.
We got 50 odd people on this feed. If you tap your screens, if everyone pushes the algorithm, it will boost it and it'll put loads more people. So feel free to tap the screen on that thing that you do. We've got loads of people on here. We're talking about some really great stuff. We're talking about health, healing, consciousness, revolution, law, philosophy, relationships. If you've got any questions and you want to contribute to our feed, just feel free to ask questions. Sam and I are here to just talk as we do regularly on a phone, and we just thought we'd share this conversation with people so they could listen to perhaps you're ahead in your spiritual awakening and perhaps you're at the beginning of your spiritual awakening. But either way, it's happening to you, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, that's it. That is the realization that I had to go through those years of suffering until I turned it around and took accountability for everything that's occurring in my life. You know, it's like it won't let us like just gifts.
Yeah, I mean, I remember years. I woke up really when I was 30, 12 years ago, and I remember when I was 34, I was in Nepal near Kathmandu, and I had this profound moment on the roof after talking to a Swiss guy, Jay. And I went down and I sat looking at some dragonflies around the lamppost, and I said, I don't know what's happening to me. I think I'm going insane. Like, what is a spiritual awakening? Like, what is this? What is enlightenment? Like, what? I'm not the same. Well, how did I get to Nepal? Like, when did I get to? I was just working in a corporate business job, and I had this full meltdown, and I just said, whatever it is, I'm in 100%.
Mhm.
I don't care about anything else. I don't care about what happens to my financial situation, about my relationships, about anything. I just want to follow this journey to the end of this experience. And that was a huge shift for me,
Yeah.
making that commitment to be an awakened person and focusing my attention only on that. And as a byproduct, solely focusing on studying my mental health, emotional healing, and God and religion, not religion, but studying religion to know what they meant. My life has only improved as a byproduct of focusing on my consciousness and expanding it and loving it in all aspects. I haven't had to worry about building better relationships because just building a better relationship with myself forced the relationships to change in my physical reality.
Yeah. It's
So,
what you were saying about it being a formula almost, isn't it? You know, there's a formula to this that is, if you do this, this will happen. There's a direct correlation of that, and that's it. You know, we all think, oh no, it's so complex and all the rest of it. No, a lot of it is just feel it, release it, your vibration changes. Then when your vibration changes, you become more open and receptive. That's a good term for it, for that same emanation coming into you in from appearing in the outside world, but the outside world reflects your inner world. But that's why you change your internal state, and everything else is a byproduct gets better as a result of that. Yeah, has to. Yeah,
yeah, as within, so without, for sure. And I mean, are you familiar with Bashar?
yeah,
Okay, cool. So I've been 5 years in Bashar down that rabbit hole, and I went through like 2.5 years where I never watched anything else but Bashar videos. And it was just like I didn't care about anyone. I needed off-planet information. I don't want all this on-planet regurgitation. I need advice now, and I need it snappy, and I need it from a being who's not from this planet.
yeah.
And
That's
Bashar completely and revolutionarily changed how I think and feel about reality. Religiously listening to his videos has changed my perspective to only create positivity even in the face of negativity. And that level of non-judgment, I'm not judging a negative situation. I'm just simply remaining a positive energy within the current situation and trying to look at the silver lining in anything with Bashar. And Bashar has helped me. And I connect with Bashar when I meditate. He comes into my mind and I have a frequency shift and we are in communication. It's so subtle, the energy that we shift when you're in meditation. But I feel very connected to his teachings um, and other, like Hermes Trismegistus,
yeah.
the great book. Again, when I read a book of his and I sit in a meditation afterwards, and he comes into my, I feel very connected to what he was doing. Same with Jesus, same with Christ, same with other Buddhist things in the past, where I'm contemplating that, and I've suddenly connected that frequency, and I can feel the elevation within my being taking place as I feel into what that person teaches.
Mm,
Um, So yeah, anyone watching this, just study relentlessly for the rest of your life.
yeah.
Feel all of your emotions, every single possible nuance, tiny, tiny, tiny emotion. Feel it fully, and you will be doing yourself, your community, your family, your friends, and the planet such a wonderful service at frequency, shifting the frequency within yourself, shift the frequency within the world, and yeah,
And that's it. Yeah, I view it all as energy as well. Like, and it's quite hard to describe sometimes, I find. But like being around like-minded beings, you get that confirmation of things, and you don't doubt yourself so much. You know, and not everybody's going to agree with everything that you're saying because they're at a frequency, and this is where the scale of consciousness comes in again. Is like where these people are at. If they're still in fear and separation and all of this, they're going to perceive whatever you're saying as a threat to their lack of awareness within themselves, I guess, and they will resist maybe if they're not open. But when you start to go up the rungs, it's like you could have a car crash, say, you know, and in one person's frequency, in guilt or shame, they'd be like, "This always happens to me. oh, woe is me, you know what I mean? It'll probably like ruin the car, it'll be a write off, I'll have to pay loads of stuff, da, 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 da. Whereas another person can have exactly the same experience and see it as an opportunity, you know? Oh, great, I get to connect with this person. I can see this person's really distressed from the car crash. I can help them, um, like, not be so scared in that situation. Hey, maybe a relationship or a connection is forming here with the person. Brilliant, you know? It's like, so you're either the pessimist or the optimist based on how much you realise the truth of your true being that you are, you know? And that's it. So whenever there's people who maybe don't agree or aren't in that frequency, that's cool too. Like the unconditional love is the unconditional acceptance of wherever anybody is at, because then it doesn't. There's no resistance there anymore. You know, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, and as we raise our consciousness, we do become very self-aware of not just ourselves, but everyone's body language, the tone of their voice, their facial expression, everything. And it is easier to navigate through social situations now, way easier because of the clarity that I have in human reaction, response, thought, feeling. I think ultimately meeting people where they're at has value because you want to be relatable. We want to be relatable, so we're meeting people where they're at. Only initially am I meeting people where they're at. I wouldn't just generally stay there consistently all the time at that level because it's training for me to do that. I can have an hour-long conversation with someone about something, that's fine, and be really interested and love them unconditionally, be interested in their thing. But would I want to hang out with them 3 or 4 times a week? Maybe not.
Yeah.
So, and they also feel it too. So when you are, they also aren't resonating with you. Even though we're the same, we're not resonating with everyone, they're not resonating with everyone. And sometimes it's just a polite chat and a talk. But you know how you can test the water with some people and they'll start bringing spirituality up to you to see what you think about it. And I had it with my friend the other day. She's like, "Oh yeah, so you're into like God stuff, aren't you? Like, what do you believe in God?" I'm like, "No, I don't believe in God. No, I am God, and so are you. And everything that is alive is the consciousness of the infinite, one infinite creator. That doesn't require a belief in it.
Yeah.
It's like we are it. We live in it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everything is that. You don't have to believe that. In a way, you could say you do believe, but
Yeah, it's almost like God is a state of being, isn't it, rather than a thing.
Kelly, yes, I am. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went from being an atheist, like science-based atheist. I completely skipped the religious part of believing there was an external God. I just completely bypassed that and realized that I was that expression of and the no belief is required in an omnipresent God. Although you could say a level of belief in God is helpful, just reinforces that whether you do believe in God or you don't believe in God, you are God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. It really doesn't matter. That's it, isn't it? You know, it's like, do you believe in God? Well, it doesn't really matter actually whether you believe in it or not because you are it. You know, it's like whether you like it or not. If we've just forgotten.
Yeah, it's like a leaf believing in the tree.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't need to believe in the tree to be an extension of that tree.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so whether a leaf is in the tree or not, it doesn't negate the fact that it is a leaf and it is the tree.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And the tree is connected to every other thing in existence as well. Yeah, and you're only ever fearful or scared of yourself as well. That's the big part of this journey. Is that, you know, when I'm scared of something out there, it's something within my being yet been realized. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, the screen of reality, the canvas I call of reality, is actually just showing you yourself back to you. That's what it's literally as feedback. So if you're having an experience where you're experiencing fear or something, actually inside of you being pushed out to show you that you have something inside of you that is fearful.
Yeah,
And that it isn't actually to be afraid of, it's actually just to be looked at, seen, contemplated, written about, felt about, and released back to an infinite creator. Thank you so much for coming. Cool. It's actually signposting you to show you what work there is still to be done.
yeah, yeah. So thank you for the triggers, isn't it? Thank you always for the triggers. They are literally showing you where you are not free, but you are free. You know, at the same time, it's like, yeah, so
Yeah, you're
beautiful.
actually looking at a mirror,
Mm,
and that's a huge realization. That's not a small thing.
no.
Going through that process in 2018, 19, and 20 of realizing that you're looking at a canvas of reality that's actually a mirror that's reflecting yourself back to yourself.
Mm,
And anything you think, believe, assume, speak, and act towards will come into manifestation.
mm,
That is a fundamental fact. If you assume a position, believe it's possible, think about it, imagine about it, write it down, speak to other people about it, and move towards that thing, the entire mechanism of reality shifts itself towards that outcome.
yeah.
And it's not a struggle at all. It's just the mechanism of physical reality and how it's structured.
And you can pull that down to anything, can't you? It's like, if you make actions on things like I would like a cup of tea right now. Right, I'm not going to be able to have that cup of tea if I just think about it. It's like I get up, go to the kettle, do this process of everything, and it's playing into the enneagram as well, because then there will be struggles at certain points on whatever journey, not struggles, but hurdles that you have to overcome and fears that you have to work your way through in order to achieve that thing. But that's a natural formula of everything is the Enneagram, and it's much more than just a personality test. It's literally showing you that at certain um, definable points you will meet resistance because it's testing you on whether or not you truly want that thing, so that you can then pull through that. But then after you realize these points, it then becomes effortless, and you will start to then flow through this process in whatever thing you're trying to manifest or create or remove the resistance to or the blocks to whatever it is that is always trying to come towards you, which is
Yeah, that's true. Everything that is meant to be yours is wants to be, and we're blocking it, essentially. We're actually preventing our own frequency from being a high frequency by clinging to old beliefs. I'm just going to answer a question by Thomas Godfrey Coaching. What is a belief? A belief, we all have to have belief on some level. In order to have a sense of individuation, identity, personality, we have to be believing something about reality, which gives us a sense of location. That's in a way, it's a tightening of the experience or some level of strain on the experience is a belief. And a belief only becomes a belief because you were told something or assumed something when you were a child, and it went so many times around your head that it solidified into a belief structure which altered the tension of your experience. The belief itself and tension are together. Like, if you can see your own eyes, you've got cataracts. If you can feel a sense of location and feel a sense of being, then you have some belief about yourself that's creating a false identity about it.
mm,
So the purification of your mind is the alleviation of tension belief systems about yourself. And letting go of belief systems about your mum and about your dad and about your culture and about your family and about the world and about Donald Trump. And then forgetting about the judgments of the government, and you eventually alleviate yourself of all negative belief systems. And then you have your freedom back.
yeah.
You have the possibility of rewriting what you choose to believe, and as a byproduct, can all beliefs be lies? No, because you can write a very very positive belief system that helps you. Like the belief system, I am perfectly healthy at all times. That is a very valuable belief system to have. I am perfectly healthy at all times. I'm perfectly healthy at all times. I am perfectly healthy at all times. It's wonderful that I'm perfectly healthy at all times. But
Here's a good one. Life is easy. Life is easy.
life is easy.
Yeah, life is easy. Yeah.
Things are always coming to me in avalanches of abundance, and money and opportunities and people and circumstances are navigating their way towards me all the time so that I can live my best life and help as many people as I can.
I always find money. Like every time I dip down, even if it's 1p or 2p, I'm like, I always find money. It just finds its way to me always. Like that's the new narrative that I'm writing in, and it's like, and it's happening. Money comes out of nowhere. It's just like, wow, okay. Because it
How
has
we
to. Conscious doesn't know the difference, does it?
No, it doesn't know the difference, and this is why this is what any external judgment towards anybody is having a detrimental effect on your psychology. I'll say that again to anyone listening, any negative judgment towards another person is having the equal negative effect on your own psychology because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between that guy over there is a fucking asshole and I'm a fucking asshole.
Mm.
It's just a judgment that's been created by the mind, and your subconscious mind will that judgment and take it as gospel. Okay? So refrain from speaking negatively about people. You will do yourself so much self love by just letting people be whoever they want to be. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, murderers, killers, rapists, pedophiles, anybody who's doing anything that just don't have an opinion about it because it doesn't help them in any way. It doesn't help you. It doesn't solve their problem.
Yeah.
Judging a murderer does not help them get over being a murderer.
Yeah.
So just refrain and don't do it because it's essentially creating the person by believing those things about the person. So it's because we're manifesting. You get really angry about a child molester and you're saying loads of horrible things about them. You're actually creating that situation. You're fueling it with emotion, you're thinking negatively about it, and you yourself are creating that person to do that.
Yeah.
It's really, really the birth of responsibility means do not do that.
And it's the law of one. That there is only one thing interacting with itself. The names change, it's like there's Chris, there's Sam, there's Buddha, it's all one thing. And as soon as that is realized and embodied, and you don't want to create harm or create any negativity or any protection onto whatever, and we can be really triggered by things and we think that's not okay and this isn't, it doesn't mean that you accept it, it doesn't mean that you agree with it, preferences within it, but keep those preferences and your opinions to yourself. And it's like the Taoists say, they always say, have no opinions about anything. And people will think you're weird because they're so conditioned to watch the news. It's terrible. Look at all this that's happening there. When actually, it's all right. It's all working itself out, and in a way that we've become so distorted or inverted in the way of our thinking, we get out of that by literally taking a step back and not getting involved anymore in anything. It's like all we can do is this ourselves. Anything other than control.
Refrain from description, like pull yourself back from any given situation, but in that moment of non-judgment, you actually have the opportunity to find the solution to it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a crap situation, and you can make the best out of that crap situation, the best you can. But it might just be as simple as moving away from someone and not speaking to them again.
Yeah, but not feeling to validate or be heard or understood, and that takes so much emotional maturity to be able to not be seen and heard by people who will never see or hear you, and it's pointless wasting energy on that. You hold it within yourself.
Like Ram Dass had a beautiful the 5 channels of Ram Dass, and I love this. The first channel was someone that has no religion, completely atheist, no concept of God at all. The second one is the same type of a person, but they go to church. The third person is the spiritual journey, where someone gets tattoos and beads, and they go and hang out in hippie camps, and like, hey, I'm a spiritual person, and they identify as a spiritual person. The fourth channel is someone that's transcending their spiritual identity, and they know that they're a soul or a higher self. And they start identifying with frequencies that are way outside of the mental jurisdiction of what they can understand. And they know that they're a soul and you're a soul, and hey, we're all just souls, man. And then level 5 is when you even transcend the individualized soul identity, and you realize that we're all just one being subjectively experiencing itself from an infinite number of perspectives. And that one being is having a dance of creation in infinite form. And whether it's a plant, an animal, a badger, a beaver, a cat, a dog, a human, a buffalo, it's all the same being, pretending to be a buffalo, pretending to be Chris, pretending to be Sam, pretending to be a bird. And that level of consciousness, once you reach like unity consciousness. It's very challenging to stoop down sometimes and have a very aggravated discussion about things, because your perspective is like, wow, I'm literally arguing with myself.
Mm.
But this doesn't make any sense to me anymore. So it's quite beautiful and amazing. If in doubt, zoom out, and that's wonderful. But still the bare nitty gritty of human behaviour that we have to navigate through and talk about and feel about and consider, and there's
And
more than
learn how
just.
to do with that. Yeah.
Because I can talk about enlightenment forever, but when I go on stage and I talk about emotion, I drop down into my body again, and I leave enlightenment behind, and I forget about the oneness of all things, and I go back into individual basis, because everyone's got their own story, and the individual story of an individual can be completely overlooked and gaslit in a way by talking about the infinite creating the one of all things.
It's
And
out of
people might, yeah, like it's so above their head. The unity consciousness is so outside the jurisdiction of someone that's suffering in pain.
and all
So
they
it's
want
just
to be heard.
yeah. So you've got to kind of go in and know everyone's feeling something. Everyone's afraid of something. Everyone's got a feeling, and some people are further up the ladder than others and can help other people. And some people are really lost in the delusion of loneliness, of hopelessness, of depression, of anxiety, of suicidal tendencies, of self-harm. That's a real thing, and you can't teach anyone the unity consciousness of the one infinite creator if they're stuck in their memories and trauma of sexual abuse. They don't care about that.
Yeah, and exactly. And they've got to slowly work the way up through the. You can't jump to here. It can't be done. You can maybe do it on psychedelics for a short amount of time, but then you will instantly go back down to whatever level you were at in order for you to learn and grow, because that's why we come here. We don't come here to just, oh, yeah, enlighten, there we go, that's it, and everything's sorted. It's not, it's navigating this world, it's where they're at for that amount of time, isn't it? But then also honouring yourself and moving out of that place, and then also staying in that place if you're able to. But yeah, it is. It's feeling people's pain and maybe crying with them, doing all that, and that's the beauty of the work. It's like, yeah, knowing where people are at and knowing how to then lift them through that and help them, guide them through it as well. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel as soon as I did the ayahuasca when I was 35, the vision that the life path that I was about to embark on was very clear to me after that experience. And I came back from that weekend without a doubt that I'd be a public speaker and not just someone who is known by 100,000, but millions of people. I've seen television interviews, podcasts, flying to other countries, doing talks on stages, inspiring people, inspirational speaking, business management. I have all of the tools to do that. What I'm doing at this stage of my career is refining the process of studying marketing and businesses and strategy and stuff, because I wasn't privy to that type, like yourself.
Yeah.
I wasn't privy to advanced business strategy and growing up. And part of the awakening process for me is studying the psychology of marketing and studying how to create a click funnel for an ad, which then links you through to your social media, to your YouTube account, which then gets you on Patreon, and then all of that stuff that we didn't know existed. So it's not just about knowing the oneness of all things and all the answers are given to you. It's like, how do I set up a Patreon account and save the password so I remember it somewhere?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, we are not of this world, but we're in it, and we have to then also do those things, And it's like, yeah, and we're getting a lot better at those things, learning every day. And fortunately, there's people who there who are helping us to do that as well. So it's good. But yeah, it's it.
I have to honour Bentino Massaro. I have to, if I ever get to meet him, I'm going to high five him and say, a bit like when we first connected, and you said that you immediately understood my message or my work, and you were like, "Oh, I just felt connected to you as soon as I met you," and I did the same with you. I felt it with Bentino, like, wow, this is a guy of all the spiritual teachings I went through. When I heard him speaking about enlightenment, I was like, "Hey, this is the guy I've been waiting for, because he speaks the exact language that I need to hear."
Yeah.
And Bentino is helping millions of people. If you don't know Bentino Massaro, anyone on here, this
Very
man is, he's our age. He's younger than me. He's like 34. He's been teaching enlightenment for 10 years. And it's profound, next level, transformational teachings that even us as disciplinarians and students in spirituality and healing, there's always someone ahead of you that you're learning from, teaching. Uh, although we're teaching ourselves, we're also students, simultaneously students.
always. Yeah.
Always a student studying the masters and listening to Alan Watts is so beautiful, and it just reminds me of so many wonderful perspectives that we could be having to help other people.
Yeah, it was. Alan Watts was my awakening. He really was. After that first DMT trip, the universe was like, this guy will, and I'm like, oh, of course, of course, of course, oh, of course. Wow, yes, thank you. There's somebody there who's confirming the energy or the frequency of which I'm absorbing things and that. And I was just like, thank God, But Ramdas, love him, beautiful. Bentino as well is fantastic. Rupert Spira. Anna Brown, and a guy who's maybe only about 26, 27, called Matt Garrett. He's fantastic as well. He's brilliant. I really, really honour him massively on this journey. He's helped me so much in putting things together in the clearness and the simplicity of what he says is fantastic, So yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, and it's like inevitable which direction the planet has to go in. And yeah, there's going to be some painful changes on the planet that when you wake up and start your healing journey, it's preparing you for those what could be a very challenging future if you look at where humanity is at and what we're doing and who's running the place. There may be a period where it's very challenging for a lot of human beings, and I would say becoming emotionally resilient, mentally strong, spiritually guided, really healthy within your physical body, and getting all of your shit together is a priority right now, because we're heading into end of days for the British Empire. Whether you like it or not, whether you're positive or not, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what direction everything is going in. So.
Yeah, to caveat that, Chris, as well. I'm glad you brought this up because there has been a resounding similarity or in a lot of people's visions. Been connecting with a lot of different people about this recently. And it's same with me in the Buffo experience that I went into. My intention with it was, please show me what I'm able to do to help people that I love through the time that is coming. And it gave me a very, very uncomfortable answer. And I just remember screaming in that place, holding my head in the fear that you can possibly be in, going, it doesn't matter what I do. It does not matter what I do. It does not matter what I do. And that was the most terrifying thing. But what that did was it initiated the part of how strong I am as being, to be able to be in a non-reactive place, to be able to deal with that time that is coming. And I do believe that there is a very uncomfortable time that is coming, for not everybody is coming along for the ride. And there will be a energetic cleansing, if you want to call it that. You could call it the whatever they say in the Bible, the rapture or whatever, or there will be a cleansing. And it makes sense. If I was God, which we are, I would, yes, there isn't room for everybody in this new earth that we're going into, and only certain souls signed up for that experience. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's not reflecting at all on anyone. It's like some people will wake up in this life and have a transformational experience where they find God and become a creative being of intelligence. And some people brilliantly and perfectly will remain unconscious and end their life not knowing their true self and without feeling that true, authentic, divine spark that lives inside of them. They'll never get to feel it. But it doesn't mean that everyone has to have this experience. It's just whatever you signed up for, like you said.
Everybody is getting exactly what it is that they signed up for before they came here, their energetic frequency level of vibration. And that's truly something that I believe. And for anybody who's listening to this who's worried about family or anything like this, when you die, you do not die. You go on forever and ever and ever. Your soul is on this journey and it is learning and growing. We have been there in previous lifetimes that are parallel lifetimes that are coexisting right now in this now moment. But what is happening with them people is they will, when they die, they go into another 3D reality, or they'll come back to Earth, or they will go into some other experience of war, strife, hunger, lack, really, in order to make themselves comfortable, that then they will shift and evolve and grow. But we are all of it, so nothing is ever lost. So don't worry for these people. They've getting exactly what it is that they need, not what they want, but what they need to get them up to speed. That's it.
That's true. That's true. And from what I can understand from psychedelics or plant medicines and meditation, which is it only seemingly feels like we're in a geographical location because of our physical body and our consciousness and our belief system about our identity. It feels like and when we die, we say that we don't die. Well, we actually haven't left where we came from at all. The soul resides exactly where it has always resided and will always reside for eternity. It's only our portion of our consciousness down here at this physical level that feels separate from that connected source within ourselves. But I think even the word transition sounds like a location.
Yeah.
When you say transition, you think, oh, I'm transitioning from physical incarnation to. Even the word transition implies space and movement. But we're actually already exactly there. So when we pass away, we actually just remember that we're already where we're meant to be. And that the idea of physically walking around a planet becomes some kind of weird, abstract, random thought that we may have been conjuring for 82 years in physical reality. But the reality is that we never went anywhere, and we're actually exactly in this blissful state of enlightenment most of the whole time. And we just have to remember that we're always in an elevated state.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It just seems that way, doesn't it? Because we're feeling as if we are something separate when actually we are one with everything. It's the beauty of it.
We're literally assuming ourselves to be separate from everything, and as a byproduct, we create the flamboyant and complex identities around the separateness of our belief. And when you let go of that, I am not separate from anything, I'm actually connected to everything. The fact that even the word connected implies that there are separate things.
Yeah.
That's what's so good. Like, oh yeah, I'm connected to the universe, man. Oh, well, who are you referring to when you say that you're connected to the universe?
Yeah.
Like, what imaginary identity have you created that implies that you were disconnected and now that you're connected? But even that is an illusion, because you already are the thing that you're saying you're connected to.
Yeah, exactly. I love that, because it's what Blue Bear Ray has said there. We've been relooped in a false light matrix. Not everything is a soul contract. They interfered. Who are they? Because that suggests separation.
Yeah, you interfered with your own timeline.
Yeah, sneaky one. Yeah.
The other aspect of your being decided to have some fun, and that's really what it comes down to. Is I saw a great interview with Christopher Waltz, the actor who won an Oscar in the Quentin Tarantino movie. I love him; he's a great actor. And they asked him in an interview, "How did you play an evil Nazi so convincingly? Like, what did you have to tap into yourself in order to feel that level of evil?"
I am.
He said, "But my character wasn't evil. My character was good."
Yeah.
And they were like, "You played it."
Oh, that's fantastic. Love it.
That's deep. And she says, "Yeah, but you were like killing Jews and you were playing an evil character." And he said, "No, I wasn't playing an evil character. I was playing a very happy, very positive character. And killing Jews is a good idea, and that's the character, and that's what the character believed. Therefore, he did have a certain tongue-in-cheek humor about it. So the idea that we think bad people think that they're bad is an illusion. The people doing heinous things on the planet think they're doing good things."
Yeah.
That's the paradox. is an evil person is someone that's doing bad things and believes that it's good.
Yeah, and we have both of that within ourselves. We are that. Yeah, exactly. You think that we're not a rascal. It's like, no, I have the potential to be, really, really evil. I've seen it within my own life. It's like I've not been an angel at all. It's like, but the only way that we accept and change or change that is I am all of it. I am all of it, and then you see yourself in those polarities within everything, and then you're truly coming into that oneness consciousness. But if you're in denial of a certain aspect of yourself, then you will continue to force to look at that, and that's the shadow work in essence. That's the healing, isn't it? The realization that I am. What Jordan Peterson said it actually. He said, "What did we learn about World War II? We are the Nazis. We are. We're all of it. And it's just playing out that's separate. And you have to love that as well. You have to accept that unconditionally."
Oh, I mean, sometimes I forget what I went through. Do you ever have that? Sometimes it was so lost in a labyrinth of confusion and pain and suffering and mental health problems and shame and guilt that now I'm on the other side of that journey and feeling that. I sometimes forget what it was like to be really trapped in that. And in a way, forget and become ungrateful because I've forgotten that it sucks. Waking up sucks. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, but at the beginning, when you've got to feel all that stuff, it's terrifying, confusingly disorientating, coming out of false identities and who you think you are, and feelings, and it really is a life's work. I would say there's nothing better to do than wake up, for sure. Studying yourself and not narcissistically studying yourself, but just getting to know your authenticity, your inner child, and is one of the greatest and most rewarding things any human being can do on this planet. And I am an advocate and promoter of quote unquote waking up. Because we should market it and sell it in shops.
Yeah.
Nobody
would buy it. That's it.
Tired of roping around the planet, not having a fucking clue about anything. Well, you should come and wake up with me and Sam.
The funny thing is, nobody would choose it willingly unless they'd been through it. In which case, they've already bought it. So it's like, how do you make people like? How do you market that? It's just like, hey, come on this journey. It's fucking awful.
Market it like any product. You just list all the benefits.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. And then there's this big portion underneath of tiny small print. You will feel like you're dying. You will have to let go of all the things you thought you ever loved. Oh, God's sake. What does that say? Oh, I don't read that. Just sign it, mate.
Symptoms to awakening: headaches, confusion, diarrhea, vomiting,
lying in bed thinking you want to die, but you can't die because you might be scared that you're going to hell. Hey, come on. That's literally where I was. I was lying in bed like, oh shit, oh God, I can't even commit suicide. I'm going to go to hell. It was like fucking terrifying. Terrifying. Try and explain that to somebody else. You can't, Yeah. But you want that. Yeah. Everybody jump on board.
Jump on board. Sign up today for your awakening.
Yeah.
And buy one awakening, get another one half price.
Yeah.
And you can gift the other awakening to a family member if you want to get, and just sell it as a product.
You'd imagine opening that on Christmas Day. Oh, great, thanks, nice one, cheers. Yeah, it's like, hey, you'll thank me later. That's it. Yeah. This is a good question, actually. What about other races? Reptilians, Archons, Zeta Greys. They're characters. They are characters playing a role of the baddie in this time right now. That's what the way I see this. It's like
Greys aren't bad.
Yeah.
Greys are of human beings from another timeline that poisoned the atmosphere and had to live underground. It became grey, and it went for hundreds of thousands of years. It didn't just suddenly become grey. It was like a long time in transition, and they have come back to take DNA samples from us so they can keep their civilization alive. And that's the only reason we interact with them, and it's abductions and testing and stuff like that. But the reptilians are involved in part of the terraforming of a planet to be in a frequency of fear so they can carry on existing in this frequency. But the awakening is shifting all of that. They know that they're going to have to leave the planet. They can't stay on the planet because even the planet itself is shifting into a new frequency. So they're actually, the people running the planet are doing it just because they've got nothing else to do. They're trying to get off the planet, basically. Elon Musk, all these people, billions of pounds to figure out how to leave the planet because they've been rolling over incarnations for 1,000 years, and now it's time for them to leave. So reptilians are just doing what they're doing. Don't judge them. Don't match their frequency by judging them. Just be in the frequency.
Don't give them any more power than they deserve as well. That's it. Because like by fearing them or thinking that they're bad or whatever it is, what we're doing is we're creating that level of, we're giving them a lot of power. When actually, the battle, as above, so below. There was a really interesting conversation I had with my friend, and he saw his dad's eyes flicker into reptilian. Because basically, we have all of these parts, the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, all of these parts are going on within us. And this war, this battle that we're fighting is going on out there. It's been going on since the time of Lyra, when the reptilians came in and said that they wanted to help Lyra with their defenses. They came in, destroyed the planet, 50 million beings there. And since then, that play has been playing out for eons. And now we're on Earth, because Earth is like this planet of which you can incarnate on. So we're sort of at this final sort of throw of the dice with it all. And now we're combating that through doing the inner work on ourselves, realizing that we are love, and that has a knock-on effect to everything out there, you see. So the battle that we're dealing with within ourselves, the restoring of love, ultimately wipes out that frequency of the reptilian brain, the filter, the defenses, because that's what they're doing. Is they're so in defense, they're scared. Really, they're in fear, or else they would be in love. That's the way to look at it. They don't want to be in that place either. They're actually wanting us to ascend so that they can also come back to that place of love, because they're lost. And that's the ultimate compassion and unconditional love.
That's right. It's so true. That understanding what you just said is perfect, which is they are lost. They're like broken. But we need polarity in this reality, and this is another thing. Is the universe doesn't make a mistake. There has to be. James Bond is just a really boring guy without a villain. Like without some crazy lunatic who's going to blow up the planet. James Bond is sitting on his ass doing nothing.
Yeah.
And he's a loser who has no job. And the good only steps into action in opposition, in contrast to the bad. So everyone that's chastising the bad people on the planet, you haven't realized that you're only labeled as a good person because the bad people exist. Had the bad people not materialized on the planet and tried to control and manipulate everyone, you wouldn't know who you are. Because it would just be blonde. Everything will just be blonde. There has to be yin and yang in this reality in order for existence to play itself out. So ignore that play and just decide on what you want to create.
Beautiful. I love speaking with you, Chris. Thank you. It's because these things I think about, and I'm like, is that too out there? Is that thingy? And then you get the confirmation on it, and it helps you to embody that truth, that groundedness within.
I think this is why our conversations have to go public eventually, and we'll start making TikTok live and stuff, just simply because the nice nature of the flow of conversation that we have. We're both on the same page, heading in the same direction, and it helps a lot of people understand that these types of dialogues take place, and that they too can ascend into a space of dialogue that can be loving for all beings and themselves and stuff. I have to go and entertain in 5-10 minutes anyway. So
perfect. Yeah, well, I can stick this. I'll download this one and I'll put it on the YouTube channel as well. And then we can direct people to that as well. So I feel there's been a lot spoken about in this talk that's been really vital for a lot of people, to get them out of that frequency. Really, that's what we're doing here, is we're seeing the very deepest zoomed out level and making it edible, that's the wrong term, consumable for most people, if they're able to conceptualize that. And it's always that, as above, so below, as within, so without. And that's what's going on within us. That is a reflection of what's happening in the outer reaches of the universe and the star system and things. So, yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, I've got loads of prayer flights to do as well tonight. So, yeah.
Thank everyone that stuck around. Victoria, Buddha. I saw Buddha bought the book, the Joseph Murphy book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Victoria over in Canada, I love you so much. Thanks for joining us today. And meeting Sam as well. And thank you to everyone. I hope this has helped. This discussion has helped. We've sat around about 30, 40 people for the last 2 hours. So hopefully you guys got something from this. Please feel free to connect with us on social media. Send us messages if we have time to reply. And on the 18th of October this year, I'm hosting an event based on sovereignty, counterparts, courts, councils, empowerment, inspiration, and how to lose the fear and how to reprogram your subconscious mind. We'll be going through the whole thing. It's an all-day event. And if you click on the bio on my TikTok, you will be able to get a ticket to that event. It's an all-day thing, 10 to 6, all the way through, 6 speakers. You will be saving yourself 100 years worth of studying if you come to this event. It's going to be a masterclass in working out. So we'll see you there on the 18th of October.
Nice. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for everything that you're doing as well, because it's really inspiring. Thank you very much for all that you are, and all that you've gone through in your life as well, because it's not been like, it's been a bit of drudgery, really, isn't it? You've really put yourself in the firing line for this, but ultimately we know the good that can be shared when we do that work ourselves, and hopefully it helps people not fall into those same places as well. So, yeah, thank you very much. Thanks everybody. Thanks for all the likes as well. It's really appreciated. And the shares and the follows. And we'll see you back on here at another time, definitely. But yeah, for anybody who's just come in late to this as well, I'll download it and I'll stick it onto the YouTube channel as well. So it's there for eternity, hopefully, as long as electricity is there.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you guys. Sam, lots of love, brother. Enjoy your evening in the prayer cloud.
Yes,
And we'll see you on another live very soon.
Brilliant. All right. Take care, everybody. All right. Have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you all soon. All right.
Bye-bye.
Lots of love. Good. Wow. That was cool. Thanks, everybody. Ace, yeah, that was really, really inspiring. Like, so nice to connect with people who are very much on your same wavelength, because we speak to a lot of people who maybe aren't so coherent with our energy. But yeah, Chris, for anybody who hasn't come across Chris before, is an absolute fucking legend, as you can tell, very knowledgeable as well. So yeah, right, I'm going to get back on with making all my prayer ties, and I'm going to get off now, and I'll see you all soon. Anyway, yeah, but cheers for being here. It was class, wasn't it? And remember not to take it all too seriously, because it's all just a game at the end of the day. We're playing it on ourselves. There we go. Bonnie, right on my level. So many interesting thoughts and chats. Right, love yous. Thanks very much for all the likes, peeps. I'm sure you can like again now. Yeah, we can. There we go. Cool glasses, smiley face, all the rest of it. Spot on. All right. Anyway, it'll be over on YouTube within the next day or two, something like that. I'll get onto it now. But yeah, you're all fucking incredible, and how cool is it being on Earth at this time that we get to go through this together? It's like, yeah. All right. Take care, peeps. Love yous. Toodaloo.